guys, welcome back to today's video. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on Glee. I know this isn't really my normal type of video, but I thought that I just finished a show with my best friend that I thought I would basically say my thoughts and opinions and maybe even talk about some of the weird stuff in it. I know this is kind of different than my type of videos. I usually do more informal, I guess, more fun things. But for today's video, I thought that since you guys really liked the commentary video that I did on the plus size video, I thought, why not spice it up a little bit and do movie and book reviews? So if you'd like to see that more on my channel, make sure to like the video and comment down below types of movies and TV shows to watch, books to read that I can basically review. So without further ado, if you like to continue watching, make sure to like and subscribe, comment down below other videos I should do. And with that, let's get on with the video. All these questions are from my best friend Riley. He gave me all of them because I watched Glee with him. He was there for all my things. And if you're wondering how to watch Netflix with your friends, a lot of times because during this whole Corona time, what me and him did was basically we called on Instagram. They have that little video chat feature, or we called on regular phone. And then we would hook up our Netflixes at the same time. We would just turn on our own. Because on Zoom or any other, we didn't want to use Netflix Party or anything. So what we did, we couldn't use Zoom because copyright issues. So what we would do is basically turn on our Netflixes at the same time, tell each other the timestamp, and just try and hear the echo a little bit. It's kind of annoying, but it's really nice because you can hear really your own instead of like someone else's. So me and him really liked doing that, and we created an inside joke about what's your timestamp. But if you want to do that with your friends, I highly suggest. It's really fun. If you don't know what Glee is basically just a whole bunch of crap. Not in a bad way, but also not in the best way. It's basically so much, and you just get lost a little bit. But it's basically a show about these 4 or 5 kids. There's more every freaking episode somehow. But it starts off with these kids who go into this club, that's Glee Club basically. And Will Schuester, the teacher, he leads it. And it's basically their like lives. It kind of goes into each subject matter of their life. One character's dealing with issues with bullying and coming out to family. So first question is, what is your favorite and least favorite seasons? Okay, so my favorite seasons more likely are the beginning ones. I really liked before they graduated, and even then I kind of liked a little bit of after they graduated, but I didn't really like the new Glee thing. I didn't really like it. I just didn't like it because it was kind of more of like, I want to follow the main characters and not another subplot line. But I really liked 1 through 4, I think is where they had their like years, and I really liked those seasons. And then I just like seeing them like grow up and everything. Those are my favorite seasons by far because it's them, they're the main characters. It's them going through the struggles and lows of high school. My least favorite are probably, I think, season 5, because a lot of things just go wrong. Santana and Rachel get in an argument. One of the characters passes away. It's just like, it's a lot, and I didn't really like it. I didn't really like season, I think later season 4 is when things went downhill, but I just didn't like that. Season 6 was okay. It was just kind of hard to follow up on, mostly because it completely different. They didn't really show the other Glee kids because the Glee Club basically went away. So they followed everyone else in New York, where another plot line happens later on. And so they come back and it's just a whole thing. So it's kind of confusing. I didn't really like that part. But other than that, I really liked the beginning seasons, even though the first season was really hard for me to get through, only because I was incredibly bored. I didn't really like season 1 a little bit. I liked the fact that we got to know the characters and we got to know the plot lines and everything. It was just really dragged out more than my liking, especially episodes 1, 2, and 3. I started watching those in April, and I never finished the series after. I never finished the series after because I was just so bored. Riley was the one that got me into it. I was like, well, since we can't hang out because of Corona, why don't we watch Glee together? Since that's one of your favorite shows, why not do it? And I can watch it and see if I'm interested. And we did, and I really liked that. Favorite Glee character and least favorite Glee character. My favorite has to be either Mercedes, I liked Quinn later on, after the whole, like, Finn and her plot line. She was kind of, like, really mean, and I didn't like that plot line for her, but I liked her much more on, and I really would have liked to see her again, so I think it would have to be Quinn, Mercedes. Santana was kind of, like, mean in a way, but I liked her character development. I think a lot of it was just repressed, like, emotions from being closeted and things like that, because I get that. And then probably Sam. I really liked him. He says a lot of things that aren't, like, meant to be said. Like, he kind of, like, says things at the wrong time, but he's cute. I love him. And I think that's basically it for those. My least probably has to be Rachel. Rachel, definitely. She had good character development at the very end, but the beginning, especially when she was in season 1, oh my god, I just wanted to strangle her. And then whenever she gets in her head, big-headed, like the whole time, she just acts like she's better than everyone, and it's so annoying. But yeah, she's kind of on that list only because I literally despised her most of the time instead of liking her like I did the other characters. Finn is at that level where I'm like, he got into a lot of weird things, and his character development was everywhere, and so I didn't really like that part. Kurt, he's a good character. It's just some of the things he says and things he does, he gets very angry easily, so he gets really frustrated and then takes it out on everyone. And then Brittany's just Brittany. She's kind of closer to my favorites only because she tries. I like Fondue for 2, and I like her cat. So I really appreciate that part. Other than that, yeah. I mean, the other characters, like the kind of side characters, they're okay. They're just, I like the main characters better than, like, most of the side characters. Oh, I have another favorite character I liked. I liked season 1 through 2, Tina. Oh, Tina is my favorite Tina ever, period. Like, a favorite ever. So I really liked that. So basically that's about it. Opinions on Sue's behavior. Sue Sylvester. Words to describe the woman. Republican. She just gives me angry Republican vibes. Sue Sylvester. She's a whole nother everything, basically. She is so out there. Okay, there's one moment when I really like Sue, is I like when she helps when Kurt's getting bullied. I liked her when she was pregnant, and when she gave the baby, she was really nice. But Sue Sylvester is something else. She says a lot of offensive things. A lot. The show also, by the way, I didn't speak about this. The show says a lot of offensive things. It got worse. It was worse in the first beginning part. Then it was kind of okay. There was a little bit of it. I'm kind of like, was Rachel ambiguous or selfish? Rachel's whole character is being selfish. Literally. Like, whenever anyone else is, like, doing something, she's like, I want it. I want it. And literally later on in the show, she gets her dream. And she leaves it for a bad thing. And for what? For what? She just left it. Like, come on. You worked all this hard. And she literally left her dream school. And I'm saying that because that's part of how selfish she is. And just, it was annoying. And especially when she was in high school, the whole time she'd be like, Mr. Schuster, I want it. I want the job. Like, shut up! Like, shut up! Like, come on, Rachel. I loved her character development at the end, though. At the end of the series, like season 6, took that long for her to get good. She was nicer. Way, way nicer. And then she kind of just like grew from there. I really liked her in the finale. She was really good in that aspect. But other than that, hated her. Selfish. Do you prefer season 4 kids or the season 6 kids? Season 4 kids were, I'm going to tell exactly how I told Riley. Season 4 kids were good each of their own, but together, I hated the way they sounded. Season 6 kids, they sounded not that great on their own, but together they meshed really well and created a good performance. That's what I really like. I like people that make good performances because they don't outstand one another from being just like equal. That was the kind of difference between the Glee Club and the first one, the first Glee Club, the original one. Like, they each had their own talents and were really good, and they were exceptional together because they knew how to piece one another. And I really liked that aspect. But they didn't win, really, any. They were good on their own. I liked Jake. He was Puck's brother, I think. And Marley, she was really good on her own. She kind of got an attitude a little bit. I didn't like it. Kitty, she was, just, I didn't like the season 4 kids on their own. I liked them, but with together, I hated it. Season 6 kids, they're talented, but each their own. They kind of have a weak spot, but together, when they took all those like weak spots and each one of them filled each one, it sounded really good, and that's why they won. So I prefer season 6 kids over season 4 for that reason. Dave's character development. So Dave is the character that bullies Kurt and proceeds to make him transfer schools, then comes back. But there's a shocking thing about Dave, and I'll tell it. If you don't want a spoiler alert, I'll put a spoiler alert warning right here. But he comes out as gay, and that's the only reason why he bullied Kurt, was because he was out and proud and he despised that because he wanted to be. And so, I mean, I really despised Dave at first, but then once again finding out, and then he got way more nicer to Kurt. Once he left the school is just very toxic for him. So I really appreciate that. I was really proud of him for that. And then he was just so nice to him afterwards. He was really nice. I really loved his character development. If anything, that's probably one of my favorite characters that had the character development is Dave. Because when you first see him, he's this stuck up, you despise him. He's like football player, stereotype, he's a jock. And then like later on, you find out that he's just like has something, and then like it gets exposed. And then there's one moment in the show where something really bad happens to him, and I feel so bad, and everyone just kind of like realizes that how important stuff is. And so I just really loved his character development, and I think it was one of the best character developments of that show. If there was any character development that I could have got rid of or stayed, I would definitely have chose him to stay, because it played into a good thing that happens, because sometimes that does happen. And I just think it showed a lot of power to, like, even though this person may be very toxic in the school, they do have their own lives and that they can grow. And I'm so glad that they grew, and him and Kurt became really good with each other, and Kurt helped him when he needed it, and I just really liked it. And Dave as a character development was one of my favorites. Rachel and Santana's feud in season 5. This was so irrelevant. It was insane. Like, so irrelevant to the point that I absolutely despise it. And it's just, Santana's really never showed an interest in like Broadway. I always saw her as more of a musical type of person in like records. She just kind of like tried to like get the understudy. And so like the whole thing, I think Rachel was really the butt of it all. I think she was the main issue because she really got frustrated when Santana was like, "You're gonna steal my role." And like, yeah, Santana's kind of like character is kind of like the like, haha, I stole it, hee hee. And I think just Rachel really started it all, I think she got too frustrated because, like, Santana wasn't really going to steal her role. Like, boo-hoo. She got frustrated for no reason, then she left and it was like, I'm out. I'm out. Like, shut up. Like, okay, we get it. You're jealous. Boo-hoo. Happens. And then she proceeds to leave Broadway. Which in itself is so stupid. But I just didn't like it. I think Santana had a right to get angry back at her because Rachel really was like, ha ha, tee, I got the role, you didn't, and the main character, ha, like, no one cares. But I do think Santana had a right to get angry, but I think they took it too far. They took it too petty, to the point where Rachel literally moved out. And then Kurt got into it somehow, and she was like, Kurt, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Stupid, I'm telling you. My final thoughts. My final thoughts on the show that it's not the worst thing ever in the world. I enjoyed it. I fairly enjoyed it. I laughed. I giggled. I cried. Speaking of which, if you get triggered by school shootings, don't watch the school shooter episode in season 5. Yeah, don't. I learned that the hard way. But I laughed, I giggled, I cried, I smiled. It's not cinematic wonder piece. It's not the worst thing ever I've seen, and I've seen Riverdale. So, on a scale of Riverdale to Stranger Things, let's say, it's a show that you would watch when you're really bored and you fairly enjoy it at the end, and you're like, okay, I laughed, I giggled, but then you would immediately go like, okay, I'm gonna go watch my favorite movie now. You know, like, it's that type of show. But if you really want something to get into and just watch during this quarantine, I highly suggest watching it. And it's funny, it's offensive at points, and I don't think it's the best show, but it's a show, and I think if you really want something that's kind of like a comedy that you can cry to if you need to, if you just need to watch something when you're down, or if you're desperately bored, I suggest watching it. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe, comment down below other videos I should do. And I am now going to say the last thing. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, and I love you very much. Goodbye. Mwah. Okay, bye.